Join me today as we take a cooking journey to visit the ancient Inca people of South America and learn about the super grain of the future. Hi, and welcome to Food for Thought. My name is Barbara Kerr, and I'm glad you've joined me today. Today we're going to be talking about quinoa, what the Incas call the super grain of the future. It's a grain that not many people have heard of before. It's spelled Q-U-I-N-O-A. Maybe you've seen it on your grocery store shelves in some of your superstores that are more health conscious, but it's pronounced quinoa, and it's a really amazing little grain. And what I want to do today is just make you aware that we have something really great that we can start cooking with that you can use. And the reason I want to cook with quinoa today is because it has a really nice nutty flavor, a lot like rice, and you can put it in all sorts of things, stews, pilafs, anything, anywhere you would use rice, you can use quinoa. Not only that, your kids are going to like it because it has a really nice nutty flavor. Today we're going to be making some recipes that I hope you'll really enjoy. They're going to be making hot nutty quinoa, which is going to be a cereal that you can serve for breakfast. We're going to make quinoa cornbread and a quinoa stir fry that you can use for your dinner meal. We're going to, I would just like to tell you a little bit about this because most people don't know about quinoa, but it's the only grain that has all of the essential amino acids. There are some others that come close, but quinoa is the only one that has all of them. And when you take 2 cups of cooked cereal, it has 141 milligrams of calcium in it and 449 milligrams of phosphorus, 6.6 of iron. So we're talking about a little grain that's very tiny in size, like the mustard seed or millet, but it's very mighty in what it can do for you. So I just want to encourage you to start using it in your diet. Today we're going to start off with a breakfast cereal. It's the hot nutty quinoa. It's very simple to make. And the ingredients that you're going to need are 1 cup of quinoa, 2 cups water, 2 tablespoons pure maple syrup, 1/4 cup coconut unsweetened, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 cups finely chopped almonds. What we want to do with quinoa is, it's a very little tiny grain. It's about the size of a mustard seed, and we're going to rinse it because it has a real fine dust from when they harvest it in the field, and it will get a little powder on it. What you need is a very fine sieve that you can put it in, and we're just going to rinse it. And you want to get that dust off. And I have 1 cup of quinoa. You're always going to use proportions of 2 cups, double your water to your quinoa. So we're going to take this over to our stove, see if we can keep from spilling it all over. And I have my 2 cups of water boiling. And we're just going to add this right in here. Now when you cook a grain, you don't want to overcook it because it will become mushy. You just want to cook it. You don't want to cook it with too much water either. So 2 cups of water to 1 cup of quinoa is good. Now we're going to put in our other ingredients. We have some coconut that we're going to stir in, a little cinnamon. We have 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup, which gives it just a little bit of taste of sweet. And we're going to put in some almonds, which I'm going to chop up a little bit finer because in the cereal you want them chopped a little better. I'm just going to put them inside my little whippy dippy chopper. Saves my life every time I need to chop something. That looks good. I'm just going to pour those right in there. And you want to just mix this in. This is going to make a really nice breakfast cereal. And if you don't like one of these ingredients, go ahead and put in whatever you like. You can leave out the cinnamon or the coconut. It really doesn't matter. You can make it into a nice hearty flavor. We're just going to cover this now and let it finish cooking. The cooking time for quinoa is about 15 to 17 minutes. Turn it down on low after you get it to boil, and then just let it simmer. And so we're just going to let this cook into cereal, and we'll check on it later. Next, we're going to get started with a quinoa stir fry, which is really nice. And you can put anything in the stir fry that you want. I've picked some of my favorite ingredients for you today to go by as just a list of something you might want to use if there's something, again, that you like or don't like. Go ahead and leave it out. It is 1 large onion cut up, 2 celery stalks cut diagonally, 1 small zucchini peeled and sliced, 1 medium yellow summer squash sliced with the peel on, 2 cups of mushrooms sliced, 1 red pepper sliced into 1-inch strips, 2 medium carrots shredded, 2 or 3 tablespoons liquid aminos, 1 cup quinoa, 2 cups water, and 2 pinches of salt. What I've gone ahead and done is cooked up our quinoa ahead of time, and we're going to mix it in at the end, and that's the 1 cup of water and the 2 cups of quinoa. I've just cooked it with a little salt and just a touch of maybe a little canola oil or olive oil in there. And as you can see, when it cooks, it has this little tiny round spiral on it that kind of pops open. Kids think that it's really fun to eat. It's sort of like alphabet cereal. And that little round thing is filled with saponins, which are really interesting. It's something that God has put into the grain to repel insects and harmful birds. So if you're, worried about, bugs invading you or something, you might want to really add this to your diet. But we have this cooked, and we're going to go ahead and set it aside, and we're going to go ahead and make our stir fry. And I'm just going to get this out of the way. We're just going to heat a little olive oil in our skillet. And our assistant, my assistant, trusted, wonderful, best friend, Claudia Welty. Thanks, Claudia. Do you like the stir fry?
It's my favorite.
Everything's your favorite.
I like eating.
Good. Well, we're just going to start with maybe a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, and we're going to add we always add our onion first. You want it to get a nice brown color and flavor, and we're just going to go ahead and get that in there and get that started. And just 1 large one, just cut it up however you like to slice it. I kind of like mine in bigger chunks and bigger pieces, although there are a lot of people that really hate onions, but it's really good for you. Try really hard to put a little bit of it into your diet. It's just one of those wonder foods. So we'll get this going, and while we're waiting for that to heat up and start browning, we're going to go ahead and slice up our celery, because we want to put that in. And this is one of those foods that's nice when you come home and you're tired, and if you have your ingredients, like you go to the grocery store and you brought them home and you've prepared them and they're done, they're easy to just grab out of the refrigerator. Otherwise, you can just I like my little slicer because it's really fast. No matter what I have, I'm going to just cut these end off here. No matter what you have going, it just doesn't take too long to slice this. And don't worry, I'm not planning on cutting my hand today. So it just makes it really fast for preparing your food. You always want to start with your celery and onion base. If you just hate onions, start with your celery, something that you like. I'm just going to slice this up. This will give it a lot of nice crunch. Claudia, would you stir our stir fry for us, please? I just want it to. And as you go along, we're going to be adding something instead of salt to this, which is our Bragg's liquid aminos. They're really great. It's a unfermented soy sauce, and it has all of the essential amino acids in it, or it has all of the liquid aminos. It's really great. You can use it just as a perfect replacement for soy sauce, and it's not fermented. It has a really nice taste. So we'll be using that instead of salt today in this recipe. Let's go ahead and just put that in there. This is really nice. When you can't think of what to make for dinner, just go to your refrigerator crisper, pull out whatever vegetables you have, and you can just, I think I'm just going to. Now on your summer squash, go ahead and leave your peel on. It generally doesn't have a bitter flavor. I'm just going to slice this down a little bit, make half moons. On the zucchini, I like to go ahead and peel it because sometimes your zucchini will give a little bit of a bitter flavor. So I put in a summer squash, a zucchini. It's really great, especially if you grow your own. I didn't mean to throw that at you, Claudia.
Oh, yes, you did.
You're used to me throwing vegetables at you in the kitchen.
You got to duck when you're cooking with Barb.
You really want to, I didn't do it. You really want to have a nice, if you have a really great gas burner at home like I do at my house, and you can really get that fire going underneath and get that sauteed, you want to brown your onions first. We're still waiting for the crew to get one of those Binford 4000 models here for a stove for us to use, so we can really get some power underneath this. So, can you stir fry that a little faster, ma'am?
I can go faster, but I don't think the stove can.
Okay. We're going to go ahead. I'm just going to put these here while that's browning. That's up on high. We're going to slice up our zucchini. The very first time I ever went to Claudia's house, we had been juice fasting together for a month at a clinic in Florida where we were drinking carrot and kale and celery juice and apple and grape and different things that most people go, oh, that's really disgusting. But wasn't your golf game, your tennis game had been slowing. Golf was next to her. Her tennis game had been slowing down, so that's why she was there. And I've had Crohn's disease for the last 14 years and was basically dying from that. And I needed to juice fast, and which I'll be telling more about on the Presents program. But we were there, and I went over to her home, and she made a salad for us because we could only eat vegetables on the weekend. And she brought me out this bowl. And there was no lettuce in it. And I looked at it, and because I didn't know her very well, I didn't say, where's the salad in this salad? But it was like chunks of, cut up zucchini and summer squash, and there was onion, raw onion in this salad, and I'm thinking, nobody taught her how to cook. But I was polite, and I ate it. And you know what? It was really good. I was very surprised. I had never eaten chunks of turnip before, but she used vegetables, and she cut them up raw the way we're supposed to eat them. And it was a very delicious salad. And we used like lemon with a little canola oil, real lemon juice, and a little salt. We'd shake it up in a glass jar, and it was a really nice salad dressing.
You were an easy convert.
Well, I'm telling you, I was surprised. I know those people that absolutely hate onions will say, there's no way I'm going to do that, but trust me, if you just try a little bit, and don't try one at the winter and during the winter, unless you can get one that's really sweet, because sweet onions are the best tasting, and they really are what's going to help you learn to like onions. What I have here is just a little thing that I like and that helps me cut stuff up. It's not because I'm lazy. I just really hate chopping. It's a little egg slicer.
She's the Tim Allen of cooking, actually, all the gadgets. The more, the better.
Well, if it makes my life easier in the kitchen, there's a good chance it's in my kitchen.
I'm always afraid to go in her kitchen. You never know what could be in there.
No, it's not bad. Actually, this is my favorite gadget that I have of my son's. He loves to cut up strawberries. So when I was watching my niece this last summer for a week, I came in the kitchen one day and caught him with, he had Katie, who's only 3, up on the kitchen counter, and they had this huge strawberry, and they were trying to force a strawberry that was actually bigger than the circumference of this through it, and they were just making strawberry slices, and they'd sit there and they'd eat it, and he'd let her do one, and then she would do one, and they had just a feast on strawberries that day. I think that's probably enough mushrooms to put in there. Just whatever you like, or the vegetables you're going to put in. We're going to go ahead now and put in let's give that just a little bit of liquid aminos. I like, if the onions don't have a little bit of the saltier flavor, this is really nice. This just needs
The big lid is over there.
We need a really high heat, though. Well, we'll do our best. You guys will get the idea of what we're doing. I think that one mushroom made it in whole. We'll dig that one out. And it'll get a little bit watery as you use the watery vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay. Okay, don't burn me now. Let's get this whole mushroom out. This is good. What you're going to do is you want to try and get the zucchini pieces to separate, and when you have a really high heat to cook it on, you'll actually see these start to brown a little bit and saute, and it'll cook down, and it smells wonderful. It's really a beautiful dish. And then we're going to pretend that it's almost done, and right as you're finished cooking, you're going to put in a red pepper. You can put in orange or red, whatever. Cut it up into, cubes, strips, whatever you like. And you're going to put in a couple shredded carrots. You just want to warm this through. You don't want to cook these, because we're trying to leave as much of the enzymes intact and make it as healthy as possible. And the enzymes start to die at 107 degrees, so we want to just warm it through, just toss it. And the more color, remember, that you have in your dish, the better it's going to be for you. So let's warm it through, and then we are going to, you want to check our quinoa cereal and see how that's doing. Just pull that lid off. Oh, it looks like it's about done. Actually, let's see. I think, yeah, it's about done. We want those white centers to be going. Go ahead and just cover that, and let's put in just a touch more water. We cooked it a little while with the lid off, and it just needs a little bit more water. So as you mix this, mix the carrots through, it looks beautiful. Then when you're ready to serve it, you've already cooked alongside with it, you've cooked your quinoa already, and you have it ready. And I always save a little out plain for my son, and we're just going to pour this into our stir fry. This is really, really a good dish. We'll be having this for lunch today. We're just going to toss it through. You can serve it in whatever, serve it right from the pan. This is really great. It's a nice flavor. And then what you're going to want to do is taste a vegetable as you go along to see how you want to adjust the salt. The liquid aminos just give it a nice stir-fry flavor. And so we're just going to put a couple tablespoons on, whatever. Just mix that through. It's really a great dish. Next, what we're going to make for you is a cornbread that I think is probably closer. I don't know that it's exactly the way the Incas make their cornbread, but we're going to make one for you. I'm going to just give this to my assistant. We've made quite a mess today. You're a good assistant. Thank you. Whoa. Now this is another one of those foods I can't get my husband to eat because he doesn't like cornbread. So some days I just can't win at my house, but he does love to eat certain things. It just has to be what he's in the mood for. So on our cornbread recipe, there are more ingredients involved in this one. 2 cups of high lysine cornmeal, 1 cup quinoa flour, which I'm going to tell you how you can make, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons aluminum-free baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon garlic salt, 2 teaspoons onion powder, 1/3 cup applesauce, 2 tablespoons raw honey, 1 3/4 cup almond milk, 1 medium sweet onion chopped fine and browned with liquid aminos. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our dry ingredients in one bowl, and we're going to mix up our liquid ingredients in the other. Again, I use applesauce in this recipe instead of fat so that we can make it lower in fat. We're going to start here with our applesauce. Just going to mix this in. I think I'm running out of, let's see, I'm running out of spoons. Okay. And we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of honey. You might want to make this recipe just a little bit sweeter. If you like sweet cornbread, go right ahead. Feel free to put in as much as a 1/2 cup. It just depends on your own sweetness preference. And we're going to put in almond milk. Now this is something that you can buy at the health food store again. It's a Naturally, I believe, makes this, and it's an almond milk. I really like it. It's very nutty tasting. This is, as a matter of fact, what I would use over the quinoa cereal that we've made. I'm just going to mix these ingredients. And we're going to put our dry in here, and then we're just going to see if I can get these in the right spot today. They were giving me trouble yesterday. Okay, we're going to put our cornmeal in. I use high lysine cornmeal. Again, it's something you can get at the health food store, but whatever cornmeal you have would be okay. Just always looking for those extra vitamins that I can put in. And we have a cup of quinoa flour. Now, if you can take the quinoa grain and put it in your blender and just blend it, help it, stir it a few times, blend it for, I think it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to make your own quinoa flour. You don't have to find this, and you'd have a hard time finding quinoa flour on the shelf in your regular store. I'm going to put in our onion powder and our I use aluminum-free baking powder when I do use baking powder because we don't want aluminum in our diet. It's been proven to go into people's brains and cause Alzheimer's, so we try real hard not to cook with aluminum. What we're going to do is just put our liquid ingredients in. Oh, the best ingredient that we have is our browned onion. You want to go ahead of time and just brown an onion. See if we can get my mixer to set down. I think I know what the problem is. There we go. Put it in the right hook. It always works better. We're just going to add our liquid ingredients here to our cornbread. This is a nice cornbread. And put in our onions. Just turn this on low then. The browned onions give it a really nice flavor. Even if you don't like onions, don't leave this out. This is really good. I'm going to go ahead and put this on low. Thank you. Boy, our quinoa stir fry is smelling very good.
Crew's about to mutiny.
We just need to mix this into a nice thick batter, and then we're going to put it in our bowl. When you bake this, you're going to bake it for about 30 to 45 minutes, depends on your stove. I like to put it in one of my deep dish bakers, which is a clay product. And you know, if I'm going to go to the trouble to make food, I hate ruining it. So, I'm going to mix this up. It's about done. You have a deep dish baker for us, Claudia?
Yes.
Do you like cornbread? I don't know if I've made cornbread for you before.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's depends on how you make it. My family's a big cornbread cooking
They are
family.
not.
Yeah, they are. Cook a lot of pinto beans and cornbread.
Yeah.
Hearty stock, pioneers.
The very first time I ever made pinto beans at her house, I thought her mother was going to have a heart attack. I decided to make refried beans, and when you make refried beans, you cook your pinto beans and then you mash them with the beater. And I set that mixer in there and started going, and Claudia told me later her mother had never seen anybody put a mixer on pinto beans before, and I'm going to spray this lightly with a little pan, I think. Well, we don't have it here. That's okay, just pretend like I've sprayed this a little bit. We're just going to put this right in. But yeah, now why was that your mom was so, had she never eaten
Well, she likes to eat the
refried?
bean. She likes the whole bean, and just, you just eat them solid. She'd never seen anybody, like crush them and blend them up, and she was mortified by it. She looked at me and she goes, "What's she doing?" I go, "Whatever she wants."
Yeah, there's one rule when you're cooking in Claudia's kitchen, it's yours.
Hey, if you want to cook in my kitchen, you should be able to cook however you want. I'm grateful that you want to cook.
Really great with those recipes. So this is what our cornbread, you're just going to, it's nice and thick, and when it bakes up, it's going to have a very nice, you'll see that it's a very dense cornbread, but you'll tell that it's done. It'll brown lightly around the edges, and it will just, you'll be able to tell. Here's our cornbread that we've cooked up for you. We've actually already dipped into it and taken a slice. Very nice, and you can see that's a very good cornbread. We're going to check on our cereal now and see how that is. And we have a little, our stir fry has turned out very beautiful. It's ready for lunch. So that's a very nice, pretty color. I'm going to turn that off, and that will be our dinner. Now our cereal, this quinoa is so versatile. You know,
You were looking for
the little one. Quinoa is so important to the Inca people that every year the king comes down and he plants. Is this the only one we've got? What kind of an assistant are you? I guess the medium bowl is somewhere else. We'll go ahead and put their cereal in here. It's such an important crop that every year the king comes down himself and he plants the first row of quinoa with a golden spade. And I thought, you know, if this is their main grain over there and this is what they have, We're going to go ahead now and we're just going to cut up a slice. I'm going to ask Claudia to help me. We're going to put this on a plate and just make our lunch plate ready. So do you remember the first time you ever had quinoa?
Yeah, it was last year at your house, as a matter of fact, and you said, have you eaten quinoa? And I said, what is it?
Most people have not heard of it. Having difficulty again because my cornbread is still frozen. But you understand that, right? So we're just going to dish that up. It tasted really great. And put that on here. And your breakfast cereal, I'm just going to put a scoop of that. And this is really, really tasty. Your children will love this. I know the very first time I had quinoa, I had bought it at a health food market in Walla Walla, Washington, and because I was starting to collect healthy ingredients, because I thought, well, if I'm ever going to make that recipe, then I actually have it in my cupboard when I decide to make it. So I bought it at a little store called Andy's Market, and I put it in my cupboard, and it sat there for 4 years. It was probably maybe 2 years ago. I pulled it out, and I'm like, okay, I've got this bag of quinoa. Why do I keep packing this? Every time we move someplace new, I was taking it with me, and I'd never tried it.
It's not what you served me, is it?
I'm going to, I don't think so. I'm going to read the instructions, and it wasn't hard, you know, 2 for 1 with the water and the quinoa, and I went ahead and I boiled it up, and I just made it plain with some salt in it, and I thought, Barb, why don't you just try these things sooner? So I really enjoyed it, and I was sorry that I hadn't done it sooner. And so we've got to, when we have things in our cupboard, get them out, try them, and just do it. We'll be back in 1 minute with a final thought.
If you've enjoyed the recipes and cooking tips in this program, you'll want to order our Food for Thought resource sheet. We'll tell you how you can order the cookbooks you've seen used on this program, along with other information that will help you cook healthful, attractive vegetarian meals. For your free copy of our Food for Thought resource sheet, please write to us at
In Genesis 1, verse 29, God gave the original diet to Adam and Eve, and he said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food." So God gave us these grains to eat in the original diet. And if we just try them, they really are hearty, they stay with us, they're very good tasting, but we do need to experiment with them to make them taste good and to come up with some creative ways to try them. Also, quinoa comes in quinoa flakes, which if you're really short for time, you can get this. You can make muffins. They have a crispy quinoa cookies on the back and the muffins, which I did try, but I don't really recommend them because I ended up feeding them to Maggie, which is a member of our family, but it's not my son or daughter. So enjoy quinoa, try it soon, and have a really good day. Add this to your diet. Thank you for being with us.